All righty, we are live here with my client Matthew Glossinger. Is that how you say it, Matthew?
Glossinger.
Glossinger. Awesome. I'm so pumped for this because I know you've had an incredible transformation over the past 12 weeks. We're just wrapping up. This is the final week of your 12 weeks. And I'm just excited to have you on here, man, and kind of share your story.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's just dive in with who you are before we get into all the results and everything. Just kind of tell everybody who's watching, a little bit about like who you are, what do you do, where you're from.
So I'm from Utah, Salt Lake City, Utah, and my job is I'm an insurance salesman. I sit a lot, and so I work the phones, and my health was not in the best of places, so I needed to make a change, and here I am.
I love it, and we got some cool results to talk about. So before we get into that, I want to let's kind of set the frame for the story and kind of take us back, Matthew. It's cool with you. Where were you before you joined Wealthy Body? What kind of the it can go back as far as you want. What were kind of your main? I know you obviously had a bunch of medical issues going on, but what was your main struggle and challenges, or kind of what were you going through before you decided to make this shift?
Well, I had I have neuropathy in both of my feet, and I had plantar fasciitis, and which made it really strenuous to walk. And I was working in a restaurant at the time, or at least recovering from working in a restaurant. I think that exacerbated it. But and then I had some knee pain that was going on, some inflammation in the knee that was just making movement and any kind of getting out problematic for me, and I just needed to make a change on that.
So tell us, before we get into making the change, how was that impacting your life? I know the answer to that, but just so we can share with people, like you're obviously going through plantar fasciitis and neuropathy, and I know obviously there's a mental component that goes along with that. So like, if you want to expand on that a little bit more, and kind of how was that impacting your your day-to-day living, just kind of overall your overall lifestyle?
Well, when you're sitting all day long, whether you're door dashing, which I also did, or you're sitting in the house doing, insurance, you're always thinking about your health. Your leg is always stiff. You're always, and you're emotionally eating, and that's not helping anything. So, and you just don't see a whole lot of hope at the end of the rainbow, trying to solve all those problems. So, yeah, it's been a big challenge.
Gotcha. And so for you, obviously you realized you had like an aha moment. It's time to make a change. If you maybe think back, what was that? When did you kind of, maybe it was when you talked to me, or maybe it was before that, like when did you kind of have this realization of like I can't keep going on this route, I need to make a change? Was there a specific memory or moment for you?
It was probably, honestly, right around the time that you contacted me, when you contacted me on Facebook, and you were just really open about what you were all about. You weren't trying to sell me on anything. You were just asking me about making me think about where I was and what I wanted to become. And sometimes it takes that person to hit you at the right time. I've seen you around before on Facebook a lot, and so you weren't a new friend, you weren't a new face, so I knew what you were about. So I think it was probably then, when you helped me start to think about where I was and where I wanted to be, that I decided, now's as good a time as any, and if not now, when.
I love it. I couldn't agree more. So many guys that speak to their, I think they struggle to pull the trigger on making a change because, obviously, like we talked about, there's the lack of belief and just, kind of that procrastination of like, eventually I'll get to. And I love how we spoke and you just took action and we're ready to start making a change. And so for you, when you, obviously most people I talk to, they have a kind of a skepticism, or they're not sure about making, I'm sure you had some kind of like, maybe on our call, you're like, I don't know. Or did you ever have any kind of skepticism before moving forward at all?
Yeah, there was all kinds of skepticism.
Okay.
As you know, I did a lot of off-campus study into things, and decided, for myself, that there were some other things that needed to come into play for me. But yeah, you're just like, does this really work? Will this really change my life? Will this really work as as advertised, that it'll happen as fast as is advertised.
Totally.
And so yeah, lots of skepticism in a lot of different areas, and a lot of different areas that you don't even think it would necessarily show up, because you're thinking about it being as weight loss. Well,
Right.
no, it's going to show up in your sense of self-value, your sense of self-worth, and it's going to bring up a lot of other questions, and you're going to start paying attention to not only what you eat, but how you feel when you eat things.
Right.
And you start asking yourself questions. Okay, why am I eating this? What is going on in my
Right.
head? And when you pay attention to those things, you obviously can get some deeper insight into yourself and into your
Yeah.
psyche and your self-confidence. Your self-confidence will go up with this.
I love it. I love, like, I remember our first call we had, you were like on your couch, just like spread out, just like lying down. And now we're doing a call and you're out in the park walking around, which is incredible. I'm proud of you, man. It's awesome. And so I want to ask you, before you joined, like you said, you had some skepticism. What was ultimately for you? What was the thought process behind, like, this is it, I'm pulling the trigger, I'm going to invest in Wealthy Body, I'm going to make a change? What was your reasoning? Like, what was that final, like, it's time to make this shift?
Because I'm a procrastinator, I needed to do it then rather than wait. I mean, yeah, it's a financial investment, but it was worth it to me. And to be completely honest, the struggle didn't end with the day that I jumped into the program.
Sure.
I kind of waffled with it for a while and didn't take it quite as seriously as I could have or should have. But I through talking with you, through our coachings, through the other support that I had from the other members of the group that we were in, and everything, that has just been super incredible to watch all of that happen, and to discover deeper insights into not only myself, but also being able to help other people on the journey that they're either about to or have been going through.
I love it, man. I love it. And so let's talk about your results. So, like, we're 12 weeks in. Where is Matthew Glossinger now? Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually? Like, let's talk about, like, what was kind of your biggest impact through going through the program and just making these lifestyle changes?
Biggest impact, I guess, so far has been obviously the weight. I started out at 276 coming in, and I am now down to 257.
Woo!
So
Let's go.
right about 20 pounds there, which was kind of my goal. 20 to 30 pounds was my goal coming in. So, I'm right there. And then, in terms of mental acuity and clarity, I had decided, going partway through it, I was struggling with the diet side of things. And so I had also been looking at fasting and carnivore. So I did something else that I had never done before, which you'll find is surprising when you get into this, that you'll do things that you hadn't considered before because you just want the result. And so not only, the first thing when I realized that, I had been studying into the 5-day fasting, and I don't recommend it for anybody. If you're skinny, don't do that. But for me, 276 pounds, I was considered obese, and I needed to do something different. So I went through the 5 days. People thought I was crazy for doing that. They didn't think my son would offer me, those prepackaged cupcakes. He's like, "Hey, here, I can't eat all of this." And I'm like, "I'm not touching it." And because you just get your body to a place where you're like, I don't feel good. My mental clarity, my acuity, my focus on the phones, my ability to connect with people, all of that I felt like improved a magnitude up in my life. And it shows. I have better relationships. I've got, better people keep telling me, it's like, "So when are you gonna be done with your diet?" I'm like, "This isn't a diet. I mean, this is a life. This is a life change. This isn't so I can fit into a pair of pants, which I can fit into some clothes now that I didn't fit into so well not too long ago."
Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
That's always a plus. I don't have to go out and buy everything just yet, but I got more weight to lose, and I plan on making that a priority in the future here. As I continue in the program and continue helping people to improve their lives.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this thing that you get in, and you get into it for yourself, but then when you see the results, you actually want it for everybody else.
Yeah.
And I've already
Totally.
brought a few people along the way to getting them to realize that they can do things differently. And it's just amazing to see the look on their faces when they come back and report on what they experienced. And they're just like, wow, that was cool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, I'm excited this Sunday to hear back from the one young lady that listened to me and had good experiences a couple weeks ago. So
I
I'll
love
hear
it.
back from her this Sunday on that. So you do want to share, you become kind of an advocate, missionary for the program, because it's really that good. It really will, people say, well, you shouldn't have to pay somebody. Well, the problem is I'm 51 years old and I hadn't done it myself.
Right.
So obviously I needed to pay somebody because I'm asking them for their time, for their
Yeah.
resources, for their influence, and for their experience. And that should never come for free if you're going to dedicate your life to helping people. That shouldn't be something that, you got a family to support, things like that. So, I just kind of put down the naysayers right up front about that, because
Yeah.
yes, you are an investment. You didn't go to school for free. You shouldn't go to school for free.
Yeah.
So
I
anyway,
love it.
those are great things.
I love it, man. There's so much to unpack there. I had a call with one of our clients, Raj, earlier, and he was talking to me about he went through a Tony Robbins program, and they said it was like a self-development program. They were saying in the program, it's like most people know what to do. They already know what they should be doing, but for some reason they don't do it. So, like, touching on your point you just made, is that it is an investment. You are investing money in yourself, and the fact of the matter is, every great sports athlete in the world has a coach. Every single a successful entrepreneur has some kind of mentor. It's just like having that, like you said, I forgot all the things you said, the influence, experience, knowledge, like all those things it's so crucial. So I appreciate you saying that. And I know for you, it wasn't an easy investment. So, but I know you see the value in it. The last thing is, like, when it comes to your health, it's like, yes, it's an investment, but you're investing in, and you're getting back time in your life. You're getting back more energy. Like all the things you just listed is incredible. And when it really comes down to it, everybody's different. Every body is different. The path you took is going to be different from every single other person. And the truth of the matter is, sometimes we just need that coach to kind of take us on our specific journey. So I love it, man. And so with that said, I know obviously touching on a few things, you have neuropathy. You said that went down a bunch, right? Plantar fasciitis is gone, right? How's your body is feeling right now?
It feels good. I've got energy. I'm not sluggish. I'm not feeling like I want to go take a nap now. I can get through my day, and like I said, it makes it just all the way around. It makes it really good for me.
I love it. I love it. And so I want to ask you, because obviously there's a lot of different components to the program, right? You got the actual strategy piece, nutrition and training. You got the accountability from the coaching, and the community aspect. For you, if you had like a gun to your head, and you had, let's say, like, obviously they all work together, but what was, like, for you personally the most valuable part of the program?
The most valuable part of the program was realizing that um, hmm, that's a trick question, because there were a lot of things that had different
You can
meanings to
list them if
me
you
for
want.
different
Yeah,
reasons.
for sure.
So, definitely the tough questions. When you get into this, when you hit those spots where you're just not producing for yourself, your coach is there for you,
Yeah.
and it's up to your coach to say, hey, I know that this is a tough place, and I'm just going to be really blunt with you, but what the hell is going on with you? You've got, you've been doing this, and then he pulls up your Trainer Eyes app and shows that you haven't signed in for a week or two, and
Yeah.
he's like, what's going on, dude? What's going on? And then he starts asking the tougher questions. The tougher questions are like, who hurt you? I mean, because something or somebody has hurt us in the past, and we just don't realize it until we have to actually think about it a little bit, and we have to face it, and that helps us move on. It's not like he's being a psychiatrist. That's not his job.
Mm-hmm.
But the right questions can elicit the right response. And so just know coming in that you're going to have some mental acuity going on there, where you start recognizing who you are,
Yeah.
and recognizing that that's not who you want to be. I mean, that's a big thing too.
Yeah.
So that's probably the biggest thing for me, is realizing that I don't have to stay in those places if I choose not to. And it's a lot easier, once you can put some thought into it for yourself.
I love it, man. And that is really, I don't market this that much because it's not as sexy, but that what you just said is the truth. So many people, they know what to do. They know how to get the result. I've talked to guys who've gotten the result, but it's a matter of like, we're very scared as a whole. Most people are very scared to face who they actually are, and to face who they actually are and realize this is not who they want to be and start making the changes. So I agree, man. The mindset is so huge. And so last question for you, then I'll let you get going on your day off. If for someone watching this right now, because I'm sure there are guys, I can't see Facebook right now, but I'm sure there's guys that are watching this or watching the replay. Maybe talking to your old self. Maybe that's who you need to speak to. But someone's watching this right now and they are on the fence. They know their health is important. They know they need to make the change, but X, Y, Z excuses come up. They've got too much. They have no time. They're too busy. Their family comes first. Whatever it is that's going on in their life. What advice do you have for them? Someone who's on the fence, they know they need to make the change, but they just haven't, had the balls, or whatever you want to say. They haven't just decided to make that shift. What advice would you have for them?
I would say whether it's finding you, Justin, or finding somebody else that they want to trust, because trust is a key factor.
Sure.
But have a conversation, because Justin, I can speak personally to this. Justin is willing to have that conversation with you, and he's willing to start it, and he's willing to finish it. And I've seen Justin, just in this little bit of time, start to create a lot of great things for members of this group. And his tools are incredible. His tools are amazing. So definitely, make that a consideration, and just look back. And I don't care if you're 20 years old and overweight or 51 years old and overweight. If you are in a position where you have not acted, but you need to, find someone to talk to about it so that you can build the confidence. You're not going to find the confidence in yourself. You haven't. It's just not so, sometimes you're just stuck until you can get moving. And sometimes you need that influence in your life. And even if that's, you got a spouse that's not supportive of any kind. And, and oftentimes that's the case, we just kind of go through life and float on the river. And, if we hit turbulence, we just say, well, yeah, that we kind of expected that. Well, I'm sorry, with your health, you don't have to hit those bumps. The river has there's other ways to get to the destination without going through the waterfalls, or the rapids. You'll be fine. And, but Justin knows the currents. He knows the flow of the river. He knows where you're trying to get to, and you can kind of pick the path, and he'll support you on the path that you take.
Yeah.
But you're going to need the support. So I would say definitely at least have the conversation. It's a free conversation, and Justin is totally there for every one of his people. So thank you again, Justin, for everything you've done.
I appreciate that a lot. And it is a rare thing, because I've invested in coaches before, and some of them don't give a shit. I definitely, truly care. And so, the last thing we'll let this call up, but the last point that comes to mind, like you're saying, is like, yes, having that person, like you said, that, sometimes you're just stuck. And I always say this on my calls, is like Tony Robbins says, in order to make a mass transformation, you must raise the standards at which you operate. And a lot of times we just don't know how to raise that standard, and having a group of people and just having the tools that can raise your standards is sometimes all you need, that little shove to get you to your goal. So awesome, man. Matthew, really appreciate you coming on this call. It's been an honor. I know you got taking a little break, and then we'll talk again in 2 months or so, but I really appreciate you, not just because you're my client, but I really see, I said this before, but once one person takes care of their health, one person takes control of their life, that's going to have an impact, like you're already showing me. Like, it's going to impact the people around you. It's going to impact the world. Making change in the world starts with yourself. So I appreciate you for having the courage to do that. Thank you. I really appreciate you, Justin. Thank you very much for everything you've done. Of course, man. All right, man. Good talking to you. Everybody watching this call, if you enjoyed this call and you got value out of it, go ahead. There's links. I'll probably drop a link in the comments. But if you want to have a conversation, feel free to shoot. I'm sure Matthew would be happy to talk to you as well. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot him or me a message. If you are interested in joining Wealthy Body Academy, I do, like Matthew said, I do have a 2-call process. The first call is just geared towards seeing if and how I can even help you. So if you're interested, just go ahead and there's a link in my profile, or just shoot me a message. I'd be happy to help. So Matthew, thanks again, man. Have an amazing rest of your day and your day off, and I'll talk to you soon, man.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.